A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus said, "But to what will I compare this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling to one another, 'We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We wailed, and you did not mourn.' For John came, neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came, eating and drinking, and they say, 'Look, a glutton and a drunkard, and a friend of tax collectors and sinners.' Yet wisdom is vindicated by her deeds." Jesus kind of giving it to the crowd here and calling them up short and saying, hey, you guys are so busy critiquing both John, he's talking about John the Baptist, where he's sort of calling them out for having not recognized this great prophet in their midst. They were fixated on John's habit of ascetical disciplines and calling him too extreme. And then he's speaking of himself in the third person when he talks about the Son of Man coming, eating and drinking. And he said, and you call him a drunkard and a glutton and a friend of sinners and tax collectors. He then goes on to say, meanwhile, while you're so busy critiquing us, you're missing what's going on around you. You're missing the deeds of power that have been done in your midst. And he goes on to warn the cities, woe to you, Chorazin, etc. So Jesus is calling them out in their time, and I wonder what this would look like in our own time. We all know that there are folks who can get so busy commenting on Twitter and Facebook and, the comment section. There's something gets put out there and there's just a whole life that's taken on in the comment section. And it can be quite ugly and it can be quite distracting, where people aren't even anymore responding to the original content. They're responding to one another's comments. And I think Jesus is saying, don't miss the big picture. Don't get stuck in the comment strand. When God is at work in this world, look for the fruits of what is happening. He says wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. He's saying you can have an opinion about all of these various religious leaders, himself and John, but look to the fruits of what's happening. You can have your opinion about their methodology and their personality, but the proof is in the pudding. And he wants us to look for God's activity in this world, to recognize God's activity in this world, and not to get so hung up in our own sense of needing to comment and offer comment on the style of what is going on. It's an interesting challenge, I think, especially since Jesus himself is no stranger in the Gospels. He is never shy himself about calling out and critiquing religious leadership. So I find this an interesting thing to set in tension with that very prolific sense in which Jesus does this. Jesus is often calling out those in religious authority. So I don't think he's saying, don't call out people in religious authority. I think he's saying, don't do it to the extent that you are focused only on that and actually not receiving the content that is coming to you. Not so focused on critiquing and correcting others that we miss what God is saying to us in the midst of all of this, the miraculous healings and deeds of power that he's referencing, but also in our own times. Where are we seeing God at work? Let's not get so bogged down in fine-tuning our approach and fine-tuning and critiquing others' approach that we fail to see what God is doing in our midst. And after all, that is what the season of Advent is for. It's for being attentive, being alert, and being awake to what God is doing in our lives now. And so may God be with you as you awaken to that. May God help you tune out from the comment section just a little bit. And may God bless you and God keep you this day and always. Amen.